and welcome to my channel. I'm Lydia with Raindrop, Lila, and today we are going to get started with these pretty kits. I just released these and they will have been in my Etsy shop. You can go ahead and take a look and see if any are still available, but I wanted to share how I use these to make a journal. So I'm gonna start with the textile kit. I'm gonna put this one aside. This is the paper kit. If you guys want to see what's included, I have a video, a shop update, where I share everything from these kits in the video. Okay, so what I am kind of thinking of is, I guess I just want to show my process of how I get started with a journal, with making a journal. Now, I have no idea what direction I'm going into with this textile kit. I just love the colors. I think they're so pretty. I think they work really beautifully with my Yellow Roses collection, but they also work really well with like 4 or 5 other kits in my Etsy shop. I have Timeless Beauty. I have a William Morris, or a couple William Morris kits, printable kits that I think will work well with this collection also. So I might be just mixing a lot of those different kits together, but we'll see. For now, I want to get started with the journal, and I just kind of want to take you guys along so you guys can kind of see my process. Okay, I have this bit of lace. My piece of lace is smaller. This is kind of an offcut, what was left over. In my kits, they usually have 3 scallops, 3 full scallops. This one has 2, and then it has a seam. But that's okay because we might end up cutting it up anyways. And then everything is kind of held together with a paper clip. And I love actually having everything out. I'll show you guys so that it's inspiring to me when I see it. And so what I do is I will lay out all the pieces first so I can see the different colors and how they work together, and I kind of go from there. Especially if I'm not really sure what direction I'm going into, I like to do this because I can leave it here even overnight, and then I can come back and look at it, and I feel like I kind of think about it while I'm away, or it just kind of, I like to kind of compare it to kind of marinating, you know, when you're marinating like something like vegetables, you kind of have the pieces sitting there. And that's kind of what I like to do. I like to leave them here, and then I kind of think about it, about what direction I'm going to go into. So I can see the different pieces and what I have available, because that's really important to me in my design process, is to see the pieces. Because I'm very visual, but not just that, I'm also very forgetful. So if I don't have the pieces in front of me, I tend to forget maybe what direction I want to go into. So I have these pieces here. So these are great visuals for me. So this is where I'm starting off. I think what I'm going to do is do something similar to this. This is a quilted journal cover, but this one I used a lot of different scraps of fabrics that I had. Okay, and in this one, I'm trying to figure out which way I'm going to go. I have this batting, so I'm going to be using the batting for my journal. And then, should I go with this base, or should I go with this one? See that? Maybe I should go with this base as the base of the journal. You can really go into any direction you want. You don't have to. I can trim this off a little bit to fit this piece. I love this color. I think it's really pretty. So I can get started with this. Let's see. Then what I could do is I have my stitch kit right here. I can actually, this is a mini slow stitch kit. I can do something like this for the cover. Wouldn't that be pretty? But I feel like I want some more. Can layer this on there. Or I can cut this out and have little pieces kind of. Maybe I'll do that. And then I have this velvet that I really want to use some of the velvet too though. I can do this. So you just want to get started playing with it first. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I can add, oh, I want to use some of this too. Maybe this will be a layer underneath. See that? Isn't that pretty? I'll probably cut it down and so that I can kind of ruffle it up underneath maybe. And then maybe I'll trim these pieces so they kind of overlay. Maybe that's what I'll do with this. Or I can sew it on here like that. Let's see. Or I can use some of the lace. Kind of like on the spine. I like that. I think that's really pretty. Okay, so I think that this is the direction I'm going to go into. So maybe we'll start with this piece. We can slow stitch this piece, or we can slow stitch this whole piece. But I think I want to start with this one, right? I think that'll be a good start. Okay, since we kind of have an idea of which way I am going. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. So as you can see, there's so many different fabrics here. You can easily create multiple journal covers. But when I work on a project, I find it that it's more inspiring to have different pieces that I can go to and that coordinate and kind of go from there. I like to be able to pick from the pieces. And then for me, it's really important to have the different variations, like the different contrasts, so that when I bring it together, you have the contrast really helps when you're creating and having different like the different colors. Okay, so this is where we're going to get started with. I'm going to set that aside. And this, so this is the first one. I'm going to start with this. Okay, so we're going to start with this piece. I grabbed some thread, some embroidery thread and a needle. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to take this apart first. What I'm going to do first is just slow stitch this piece. Just like this one, right? I'm going to slow stitch all the pieces on here. So I'm going to, okay, so for mine, I used some repurposed fabrics. I love the way this looks. I love the way you can see through it and you can see all the little pieces. Well, I only had so much of it for each kit, so I ended up with the 3 strips, but each kit has this, this strip. It's just like a square. So you can use it like this, or you can cut it into pieces. I think I'm just gonna add it like this. I don't mind that it's into tiny pieces. I'm just gonna layer them on here because I'm gonna sew right over them. And you know what? This can add more texture to my piece, so I'm okay with that. Okay, and then I have this piece right here. Wait, it's at the top actually. And then I have these pieces. It's like a metallic tulle. I feel like the metallics and the gold and all the shimmers, the shimmery, sparkly things work so well with this color palette because of the gold, right? Okay, so for this piece, the first thing we can do, I'm going to use some of these and pin some of them down to make it easier on me. Maybe I'll go this way. So it kind of holds it in place. So we're just kind of collaging the different fabric strips on here. Now, if you want, you can follow along and just use whatever fabrics you want. Or you can change up the different, the colors and just do a different theme if you wanted to. If you picked up like a different fabric kit, oops. I just dropped my little stamping tool and I knew I had to pick it up because I will forget. Okay, so if you picked up any other stitch kits from my Etsy shop, you can do that with any kit you want. You can kind of, let's see, do I... So I'm just pinning this so that they kind of stay in place while I'm working on it, right? And all the little stitches will give it such nice texture. I love the way it looks, right? So we're gonna start with that. Now, if you wanted to, you can also sew tiny little French knots all over. I kind of wanted to do that, but we'll stick to just some simple slow stitching on here. And you don't have to worry about it being perfect because it is going to add to the look. Oops. Okay. So this piece right here, it could be a cover to a journal, but you can also just add it to one of your pages in your journal. It can become a pocket. You can do so much with this once it's finished. And it's such a simple way to use up scraps and just make something really pretty. And it's a great little project to kind of take with you, because you can have everything kind of in a little, like I had it in this little bag, and you can take it, or you can put it in a little box. Sometimes when I go, sometimes I'll watch movies with my son, and so I'll put everything that I'm working on, like the stitching or my journals, I'll put everything I want to do in a tiny little box, and I'll carry it upstairs. So I have everything contained in one spot. And so it's easy to kind of tote around wherever I'm going. Okay, so basically I slow stitch all the way down, and I have just a few more stitches to do at the bottom. As you can see, it's a fairly simple stitch, and it's not complicated at all, and you don't have to be perfect unless you want to. If you want your stitches to be perfectly straight and perfectly even, you can do it. But if they're not, that's totally fine. Okay, also. I like to add these type of stitches to do the slow stitching on here because it adds really nice texture. And so there we go. And then I'm just going to tie it off. I'm going to tie it off on the outside because I like to have little knots every here and there. Okay, so that's what I did so far. And again, it's not perfect because that's just kind of how I work, but it's okay. Now I'm trying to think whether I want to use, I think, maybe one of these flowers. I'm still not quite sure which direction I'm going to go with decorating this. I'm thinking, should I add these kind of flowers on here? Should I make a rose? I have this rose, this little piece that I made. The rose is inspired by Mel with Moonside Parlor. I've seen her make these a lot and I just love them. And I also have, I've watched quite a few different tutorials over time on Pinterest, on YouTube, and on Instagram. And I've also seen Lily, she's on my design team. She's made these before, and I've also seen, let's see, I can't remember all the different videos I've watched, like the names, because once I get into like the embroidery, I just keep watching different ones. And then when I kind of am ready, I'll start making, or I'll kind of like expand to where I want to go with like creating. So a lot of times I'll just watch videos like tutorials. I'll watch and watch and watch, and then I'll try it out also. Like when everything kind of fits together, I have my thread there and I'm just kind of experimenting stuff. That's when I usually try stuff out. Now I can try to do maybe some of these roses. I know some of you guys asked for a tutorial, so maybe I'm trying to think whether I should do like just those. I have a few different options. I have like these flowers. I have this one. I have this rose. I have this one. This one can go inside the journal also. And then I also have something I want to do with maybe some of my sari silk, which I have here. This is hand dyed. It was actually a really bright color and it didn't fit this whole scheme, so I hand dyed it. I added some coffee and some avocado pits to it. So I can use this maybe for making a rose. I'm not sure which way I'll go yet. You know what? Maybe I'll close here. So this will be a really short video. And I'll think about it and then I'll come back and maybe my next one will be which rose or which flower should I do next. Let's see. Maybe you guys can help me out. You guys can vote in the comments below. Let me know. Should I do this one? The flower on the journal? It's like a vine. Should I do like a vine with the flower? Should I do the roses? Or should I do these roses on the small patch? Okay, or maybe I should do all of them. I don't know how they will all look together. Maybe if I use different colors mixed in, I don't know. Okay, so this is part 1 and I will continue later, and maybe you guys can help me decide because I'm not quite sure which way to go with these yet. Okay, thank you so much for watching and I hope you guys will join me next time. Bye-bye.